Did you know that Chile is one of the only wine-producing countries in the world where the vines still grow on their original roots? That's right. While most of the wine world was devastated by a tiny bug called phylloxera in the 19th century, Chile was spared. It's like discovering a lost city that never crumbled. And yet for years, Chilean wine was seen as basic, cheap, and simple. But the truth is far more delicious and surprising. In this video, we're opening a bottle of history, geography, mystery, and innovation as we explore the rich story of Chilean wine. From monks planting grapes for church ceremonies to international wine dynasties investing millions in its soil, Chile's journey is one of resilience and quiet brilliance. If you love wine or just love a good story, you're in the right place. The first grapes, wine in the hands of missionaries. Our journey begins over 450 years ago, in 1551, when Spanish conquistadors brought the first grapevines to Chile. But these vines weren't for parties or luxury, they were for prayer. Spanish missionaries and Catholic monks needed wine for religious services, so they began planting vines in the central and southern parts of the country, especially around Santiago. The main grape used at the time was called País. In California, it became known as the mission grape. It wasn't fancy, it wasn't elegant, but it was strong and reliable, perfect for the harsh conditions of early colonial life. These early vineyards weren't about fine wine, they were about function. Still, they planted the seed, literally, for what would become one of the world's most dynamic wine regions. French dreams in Chilean soil. By the 19th century, Chile was beginning to look outward. Wealthy Chilean families traveled to Europe, especially France, and fell in love with the fine wines of Bordeaux. When they returned home, they didn't come empty-handed. They brought back grapevines like Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, and even Carmenere, though they didn't know it at the time. They also brought back ideas: how to blend wines, how to age them in oak barrels, how to build beautiful estates inspired by French chateaux. They were determined to make Chile the next Bordeaux, but something very different and special was happening under their feet. In the mid-1800s, a tiny insect called phylloxera began destroying vineyards across Europe. It killed the roots of grapevines, forcing winemakers to graft European vines onto American rootstocks to survive. Chile, however, was protected by natural borders. To the east, the Andes Mountains. To the west, the Pacific Ocean. To the north, the Atacama Desert. To the south, icy winds from Antarctica. Thanks to these barriers, phylloxera never made it to Chile. That means many vines there still grow on their own original roots, a rare and valuable trait in the wine world. A long nap, the 20th century. Despite this unique advantage, Chilean wine didn't take off right away. From the 1930s through the 1970s, the wine industry focused mainly on the domestic market. Most wine was sold and consumed locally, and strict government regulations made it hard to innovate or export. For decades, the potential of Chilean wine remained largely hidden from the world. But that started to change in the 1980s. The country began opening its economy, welcoming foreign investment and modern technology. Winemakers from Europe, especially Spain and France, started arriving with big dreams and even bigger budgets. Names like Miguel Torres and the Rothschild family, of Bordeaux fame, saw what Chile had to offer: old vines, diverse climates, and unspoiled terroir. With their help, Chilean wine began its transformation. A country made for wine, the landscape of Chile. If you look at a map of Chile, it's hard not to notice its unusual shape. The country is over 2,600 miles long, but only about 100 miles wide. This unique geography gives Chile one of the most diverse climates in the wine world. To the north, in places like the Elqui and Limeri valleys, the climate is dry, sunny, and high altitude. The air is clean, the UV rays are strong, and the wines, especially Syrah and Sauvignon Blanc, are bold and bright. As you move south into the Central Valley, you find Chile's winemaking heartland. This area includes famous regions like Maipo, Casablanca, Colchagua, and Curicó. Each one has its own identity. In Casablanca, cool ocean breezes create perfect conditions for crisp, citrusy Sauvignon Blanc and elegant Chardonnay. In Maipo, especially the Alto Maipo zone at the foot of the Andes, Cabernet Sauvignon takes the spotlight. These wines are structured, full-bodied, and capable of aging for decades. Colchagua is known for powerful reds like Carmenere and Syrah. This valley has earned global praise for its lush, expressive wines that are both affordable and world-class. And then farther south, the story changes again. In regions like Itata, Biobío, and Malleco, the weather turns cooler and rainier. Here, Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, and even Riesling thrive. This part of Chile is also home to old dry farm bush vines, some over 100 years old, producing unique wines from grapes like Cinsault and País. No matter where you go, Chile's landscape shapes its wine. And because of a 2012 classification system, wine labels now tell you not just the valley, but whether the grapes come from the costa near the coast, Intercordilleras between the mountains, or Andes high altitude. This helps drinkers understand the wine's origin. Much like Burgundy or Napa, the grapes that tell the story. Red wines dominate in Chile, making up about 70% of production. Cabernet Sauvignon is the king. From the foothills of the Andes to the sun-drenched plains of Colchagua, this grape shows off bold fruit, herbal notes, and great aging potential. But perhaps the most intriguing grape is Carmenere. For decades, it was mistaken for Merlot. Winemakers thought it was just a quirky version of Merlot with a bit more spice. Then, in 1994, a French scientist discovered the truth. It was Carmenere, a nearly extinct grape from Bordeaux that had quietly been living in Chile all along. Since then, Carmenere has become a national symbol. It's softer than Cabernet, with flavors of spice, tobacco, and black fruit. It's also deeply connected to Chile's identity, a hidden gem, misunderstood but beautiful. Other reds include Syrah, which ranges from spicy and structured in the north to lush and jammy in the south. Carignan, once used for bulk wine, is now celebrated for its bright acidity and old vine character. In País, the humble grape that started it all is having a renaissance, especially among natural winemakers. On the white side, Sauvignon Blanc leads the way. From Casablanca and Leda, these wines are zesty, herbal, and refreshing. Chardonnay ranges from lean and mineral to buttery and rich. Muscat of Alexandria is used both for sweet wines and for Chile's famous spirit, pisco. In cooler southern regions, you'll also find small plantings of Riesling, Gewürztraminer, and Viognier, each adding a touch of diversity. A new generation of winemakers. Today, Chile is not just making wine, it's reimagining it. Winemakers are experimenting with natural fermentation, amphorae, native yeasts, and low-intervention methods. Sustainability is a major focus, with many vineyards going organic or biodynamic. Dry farming is practiced in the south, where old vines are grown without irrigation, relying solely on natural rainfall. Wineries like Emiliana and Matetic are leading the green movement. Others, like Garage Wine Co. and Pedro Pará y Familia, are producing small-batch, terroir-driven wines that tell stories of place and passion. There's a balance between tradition and innovation, between history and future. And that's what makes Chilean wine so exciting right now. Wines that made the world pay attention in Chile may have been slow to join the global wine stage, but it arrived in style. Almaviva was born from a collaboration between Chile's Concha y Toro and France's Baron Philippe de Rothschild. It's a bold Bordeaux-style blend with the elegance of old-world wine and the energy of Chilean terroir. Senya, a project by Eduardo Chadwick and Robert Mondavi, was Chile's first true fine wine made for the global market. It proved that Chile wasn't just about cheap bottles, it could compete with the best. Don Melchor remains one of the most respected Cabernet Sauvignon from Chile, while Clos Apalta, Montes Alpha M, and Vic A continue to raise the bar for luxury wine in South America. These wines may cost more, but they offer world-class quality, often for a fraction of what you'd pay in Napa or Bordeaux. Wine with a label that means something. Wine labels can be confusing, but Chile makes things simpler with a system called Denominación de Origen, or DO. This system helps consumers understand what they're drinking by clearly stating the grape variety, region, and quality. For example, if a label says Cabernet Sauvignon, then at least 75% of the wine must be made from that grape. If it lists a place like Mapo Valley, then 75% of the grapes must come from that region. For wines exported to places like the US or Europe, the requirement usually goes up to 85%. You might also see the term estate bottled on a label. This means the winery grew the grapes and produced the wine all on the same property, showing greater control and often higher quality. In 2012, Chile added even more detail by introducing lateral classifications based on geography. Costa means vineyards near the Pacific coast. Andes refers to higher altitude sites near the Andes Mountains. Entre Cordilleras means between the mountain ranges. These terms give you a better idea of the wine's climate and character, whether it's cool and crisp or bold and ripe. Overall, Chile's clear and honest labeling builds trust and helps wine lovers connect more deeply with what's in the bottle. So the next time you walk through the wine aisle or scroll through an online shop, don't just grab the usual French or Californian bottle. Look for Chile. Look for Carmenere. Look for Alto Maipo, Itata, or Limery. Because when you drink Chilean wine, you're not just tasting fruit and oak. You're tasting survival, innovation, and the soul of a land that has always quietly stood apart. If this story opened your eyes or your appetite, give this video a like, subscribe for more wine stories from around the world, and leave a comment. Have you ever tried Chilean wine? What's your favorite bottle or region? Until next time, cheers to the roots that still run deep.